23 players were within 5 shots of the lead heading into the final round. And sure, other guys may have faltered, but Mark, Joe Highsmith really went out and got this, didn't he?
Yeah, that's an incredible round on Sunday. And to your point, Adam, he made the cut on the number. That shows how this golf course changed, the complexity of this tournament and the style of play around the champion course changed from the Thursday where they tore it apart to the Sunday when they were holding it on. He's a hard guy to get an emotion out of as well, which is going to serve him well as in his professional career. He was steady Eddie all Sunday, and didn't look like a guy coming into this tournament that could contend, but he found something out there. The one thing of note, guys, that we haven't really talked about much, and they really didn't mention it on the broadcast at all, on the television broadcast anyway, is that those hole locations coming down the stretch of the bear trap on Sunday for a lefty that can just turn the ball over with a little draw were a lot easier hole locations for right-handers. You saw the right-handers having a real hard time with those far right hole locations at 18. At 17, they were uncomfortable aiming right and putting it right of that flag. If you missed it left, you were dead. If you put it in the water, you were dead. Those were left-handed hole locations. Bob, kind of like when you and I play, how Bob, you and I insist that the greenskeeper always cuts a left-handed hole location for us.
Hey, let's give credit to the left-handers. Now, Highsmith becomes the 15th left-hander in the history of the PGA Tour to win. That's a pretty exclusive club. We know it's got some big names in there too, like Mickelson and Weir and Bob Charles, but I think that was a pretty important part of the story. And I think you hit the nail on the head, Mark, when you asked him about the journey, going through the various levels of tour. Pepperdine is a great school where he went to. It's turned out some fantastic players, including Sahith Theegala. And you go through to the Canadian Tour, and then you go up to the Corn Ferry Tour. It's just sort of a neat ride that he took to get to where he is now as a winner on the PGA Tour.
And yet another long shot winner on the PGA Tour. How about Jake Knapp? He opened the tournament shooting 59, the 15th sub-60 round in PGA Tour history. But Bob, it's so hard to follow up a 59 with more great rounds and to go on and win the tournament, isn't it?
Well, it is, and that's why you see the guys, there's 15 guys who've shot sub-60 rounds and only 5 of them have gone on to win. And not very many only 2 of those, by the way, sub-60 rounds happen in the final round. So the nerves get a little bit of changing. And for Jake Knapp, it was kind of tough to watch on that final day and to see that, I think perhaps as much as a bad shot, a bad decision, trying to hit it out of the water a couple of times. And I don't know if that's would have ended up making a huge difference in that day. He just didn't seem to have that putting like he had the first couple of days out there. And Mark, I don't know if he said anything to you afterwards or whatever, but it just didn't seem like he was very confident as the holes went on.
Yeah, I feel the way you feel, Bob. He echoed something different. He suggested, hey, I had one bad hole and I really just made one bad shot that put me in an awkward spot. And their view going into the day, Jake and his camp said, hey, we're just going to, take care of the par 5s and play steady Eddie the rest of the way. But I'm with you. I'm reading it a different way than you are. And some of those numbers, Bob, are staggering on these 59s to your point. We're down to a 33% winning percentage. And the weirdest streak on the PGA Tour right now, guys, is the last 5 sub-60 rounds in a row haven't won. What a bizarre streak. So, someone's got to break this at some point. Adam, the one thing I should mention is it was a perfect storm on Thursday, and that golf course changed and became closer to the PGA National that we're accustomed to as the week went on. Wednesday night, we got a ton of rain. New ownership at PGA National did an overseed, for the first time in 14 years, and then we didn't have a breath of wind. So you have a lush golf course, super soft, no wind. They tore it up on Thursday.
They certainly did tear it up on Thursday, and for Jake Knapp on Sunday, it looks like he got a little hesitant on the greens when he missed a couple of putts. It just wasn't meant to be for Jake Knapp, but we know he's got a lot of talent. He will be back in contention very soon.